Greetings, LEGO fans. It's now officially summer, getting hot out, and it's time to mentally cool off with the Arctic Mobile Exploration Base. This is kit number 60195 and has 786 pieces. And if it holds true to your other Arctic sets I've done in the past, this will be a fun little play set, not a whole lot of display appeal, but will have a lot of room to move for someone with an active imagination, and will also be very tempting to take apart because it usually comes with some pretty cool pieces. So, let's open the box, have a look at all that, and get this build going. So here we have the Arctic Mobile Exploration Base. Definitely the largest of the Arctic kits I've done so far, and looking like possibly the most fun of them because there's a lot of elements to play here. We've got the lead vehicle, a big 6x6 machine with a huge crane mounted on top, a 4x4 with a huge radial blade attached, the science station mounted on skis, the sled also mounted on skis, a cute little snow bike, and, of course, our mammoth trapped in ice. Starting with the lead machine, this 6x6 beast with these huge monster tires is definitely going to ensure that our Arctic explorers do not get stuck in the snow. From back to front, first we have the mount for the crane, which is mounted just behind a pair of smokestacks, because unfortunately, large vehicles like this do consume a lot of gas. And just in front of that, we have our first set of windows, in this case, angled a little upwards so the crane operator can see the crane, which of course makes sense. Then we have this little ladder on the side, which our minifigures would climb up to get into the vehicle. And all the way in the front, we have our front windows, which in this case are angled downwards, because when you're operating a huge vehicle like this, you need to have a clear view of the ground in front of you, because you never know what obstacles you're going to encounter. And to ensure our operator has a clear view of the path ahead, there's a lot of lights in front. 2 small ones down at the bottom, and 4 large ones up on top. Because where this guy's going, it's quite possible there'll be no ambient light, and even possibly in the realm of 24-hour darkness. Coming around to the backside, we see the controls for the crane. Here we can see the lift mechanism is controlled by worm gear, and this is great because it holds position even when you let go. But before you can raise this crane, if you stored it properly, first you have to unhook it from the bar in front. And once you do so, the crane is free to elevate to whatever position you want. Opening up the roof, we see our driver sitting comfortably by the steering wheel. Coffee mug just on his right, display over on his left, and flipping over to the other side, a display off on the right side. And flipping around to look behind him, we have the crane controls, allowing our operator to rotate the crane around, drop it down, pick up this crate, and lower it onto the ground, where it's all set for our explorers to access. Next up, we have the 4x4. Not as large as the lead vehicle, but still supporting the huge monster tires. This 4x4 is not going to get stuck in the snow either. Clearly, the main feature of this vehicle is the huge radial saw mounted on this flexible arm, an important tool that our explorers use to free their samples from their icy tombs. This vehicle, also sometimes needed to operate in complete darkness, is also equipped with some large headlights and gives the operator a very clear view of what's in front of him. Because when you're operating machinery like this, with its long flexible arm and very deadly saw blade, the operator needs to have a very clear view of what's in front of him. And that brings us to the science sled. Sitting on skis, this one is clearly not going anywhere on its own. Instead, this one is connected up to either the 4x4 or the 6x6, where it can be pulled up to the job site, left in place, while the other vehicles go off and do their tasks. Equipped with a little satellite dish for communication, big spot lamps in the four corners so the ground can be illuminated all the way around, and a pair of saws mounted on the back, the warm and cozy occupant of this little science sled, provided you keep the door closed of course, is all set to go out and collect samples for his own analysis. And on the inside, you can see our scientist is all equipped with a little station for analyzing the fossil we found, and a little display up on the right to display the data from the analysis he just performed. And finally, we've got our cargo sled. Not too much to see here, pretty basic. You can mount some cargo on here, put the mammoth after he's free from the ice, but I find this little spot fits the little snow bike just perfectly. And this little snow bike, seen in some of the other Arctic sets, is also a lot of fun, so don't knock it, because I love it. For the final piece of equipment, we have a pair of cargo crates, linked together here by a little support on top, but if you pop open the lids, you can see two separate crates, each equipped with a pair of snowshoes. Link these all together, and our explorers are all set to go off on their mission. And I gotta say, that driving this little train around is a lot more fun than I thought. But there's nothing saying that your train has to be 4 long or in this configuration, because you can snap this thing together in pretty much any order you want. You can give the 4x4 and the 6x6 each their own sled so they can go off and do their own thing, make a 3 long setup, or you can get our 6x6 and 4x4 to pull our sleds to the top of the hills, put our minifigures on top so they can race down the slopes. Now to our minifigures, we get 6 of them. Not a bad collection. Some of these I've seen in some other Arctic sets, some are a little bit new. But any which way, 6 minifigures added to the collection is always nice, and that gives you a lot of figures to make up your own adventure with. And for our final piece, we have our mammoth, trapped in ice. Already having been discovered by the minifigures, we've got our ice climber climbing the side, and another one with a jackhammer on top. Because with a little hard work, they can bust this ice open, get the mammoth out, so we can have another look at this pretty cool little minifigure. With its long tusks and shaggy coat, this is pretty unique. I haven't seen them before, and another piece that I'm very happy to add to my collection. With all the elements now having been explored, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is not a display piece. This is definitely a play kit. And it's a great play kit because with all these elements, there's a lot of story you can have, a lot of adventure to be had, and there's really like no end to where you can take this. Especially because as we know, it's Lego, so this is only the first stage. And the stages to follow with these great pieces, there's a lot of things that you can make here. And I really find some of these pieces to be really appealing, especially these tires. I mean, you get 10 of these pretty awesome tires, and that's a great base for making all kinds of vehicles. I also find the various windows that come on the main vehicle and the science pod to be pretty cool, and, of course, this giant saw blade. I don't yet know what I'm going to do with it, but when my imagination speaks to me, I'm sure it's going to be cool, and I'm going to love integrating it. So if you're looking for that playset for that special young person in your life, this kit really gets top marks. It doesn't get much better than this, and I highly recommend it.